What's going on, guys? Playbox here. We're back for another Dragon Ball Legends video. In this one, we're going to go over the top 10 best units in the game. Now, I usually like to do some sort of tier list type video once a month, but honestly, doing a Legends limited tier list at this point in the game isn't really worth it, since there's just too many useless LF units or LL units, whatever you like to call it. And I think doing a top 10 best units, encompassing all the Ultras, Legends Limited, and just Sparking units in general, I think that way it would give you a better idea of how the meta is structured right now, compared to a Legends Limited tier list or whatever. So I decided, why not do a top 10 instead, and it should be a bit more concise, right? So before we enter the top 10, I want to let you guys know that it was very, very difficult to actually order the top 5-6 units, and it's credits to the devs for making a somewhat, I don't know if I want to say diverse meta, because it's pretty much ruled by the top 5 units in the game. But you do see I guess a bunch of different teams using these best units in the game, so I don't know if it's really diverse in that sense. But there's a lot of competition right now for a best unit in the game, so I think that's a good thing. There shouldn't be just one unit completely dominating everything, right? And if there's a good balance of the best units, I think that's good, right? So before we enter the top 10, I just want to lay out some honorable mention here. Honestly, just looking at the honorable mention list, it might be a bit controversial, because you might expect these units to be in the top 10, but they're not. But we're just going to start off firing out here with the first one, Perfect Cell. So Perfect Cell, honestly, before you could consider him a top 10 unit, I just feel like there's just better units that are in the meta right now. And his team's obviously, future powerful opponent, although they've been getting buffs, I wouldn't say they're at the top, but at the height of the meta. Future is still good, but they're still lacking in certain stuff. Powerful opponent, I would say their biggest issue right now is they don't have really good equipments, whereas all the other top teams, right, LOE, Movie, Fusion, Saiyans, all of them have very good equipment selection, and powerful opponent, for whatever reason, they just don't have that right now. So I think because of that, Cell can take a bit of a backseat here. So yeah, then we go in next to Super Saiyan God Vegeta. Now, you could argue that this guy, once again, can make it into the top 10. I just feel like his teams, a lot of these units, is basically their teams, right? God Key, really nowhere to be found, to be honest. Vegeta Clan, despite getting the buff from Trunks, actually Trunks just completely booted off this guy from Vegeta Clan. Trunks is much better than this guy, but you could argue that this guy's value is going to slowly start rising if they start giving out more God Key units, just because of his sub count reduction and how it works against Cooler. It can kind of counteract that, so this would actually, his value could significantly go up, but it basically depends on the kind of units that are built around him, right? So he's still, I would honestly say, he's still one of the units I hate facing the most. The lock-in is very annoying, and his tankiness is just stupid. So the last one on my honorables mention is it was really hard for me. It was either this guy going into the number 10 spot, or the unit I have a number 10 spot, but I ultimately decided to go with this guy as the honorable mention, and it's going to be Majin Vegeta. Now, Majin Vegeta is an interesting one because, once again, like the other two, I think his teams definitely need help. Vegeta Clan, they desperately need help. They're solid, but they still need help. Saiyans, he's not really around on Saiyans because you have Ultra Gogeta, and then that's pretty much it. But the one thing that you do have from this unit is that this guy is a Super Saiyan 2 unit, and he's blue. And for those of you who are not familiar, Cooler's neutrality only applies to Super Saiyan units. So he might honestly be the best counter to Final Form Cooler right now. But it's just that, like I said, if you want to build a team around him, it would be either Vegeta Clan or Saiyans. And Vegeta Clan, like I keep mentioning, still do need a couple more units. And then Saiyans, you just don't run him, right? So that's going to be my honorables mention. Then we move on to number 10, and it's going to be Vegito Blue. Vegito Blue cracking the number 10 spot here. Obviously, I think at this point he might have one of the hardest hitting ultimates in the game, because for those of you who don't know, he was actually the first unit to have supreme damage on his ultimate, and he's the only Zenkai unit to have supreme damage on his ultimate. So if you tie in all these ridiculous stats with the highest multiplier on the ultimate, he ends up hitting extremely hard. It is not uncommon for you to just one-shot people with his ultimate straight up. It's insane. Obviously, strike drawing abilities is insane. Blast armor, everything. We all know how Vegito Blue acts. He's still on one of the best teams in the game, although it has taken quite a hit due to the release of Cooler, which is Fusions. Blue Yellow used to be the best team in the game. Now it's pretty like set in stone that Movies is pretty much the best team in the game. So that's why Vegito Blue is at this spot here. So yeah, he's gonna be our number 10 spot. Then we move on to this next. I'll just show it. The next spot is Hero Tapion. Now I was contemplating on putting him one spot higher. The next unit I have is actually Revival Gohan. I was contemplating on putting him above Revival Gohan. You can go either way. I really don't mind. I personally have him right below Gohan because I feel like Revival Gohan, his revival and all that stuff, I think it's a bit more valuable and paired up with the two new units that you run on Movies, which is Ultra Gogeta and Final Form Cooler. Now, you could argue that, Revival Gohan's revival, first life just completely gets destroyed. And honestly, even his second life gets completely destroyed. He has very low defense, right? But I think he makes up for the fact that obviously you have the rush control, you have sub-count manipulation, you have that. He still hits extremely hard once he's post-revival. And you can honestly just go Tapion Revival Gohan with one of the other two units, right? It would be perfectly fine. But I just find myself using the Revival Gohan a bit more. And of course, Tapion being a yellow unit with no way of going neutral is kind of a detriment right now, since, the meta is very heavily focused on red, right? Like, 3 of the top units in the game are red, so that's kind of destroying his value a bit there. But don't let that distract you from the fact that Tapion is very, very annoying, right? He has the ceiling, he has the support, he has really good damage, he has sub-count reduction, he has a lot of things. He has covered all on the green card. He does a lot of things. It's insane. I always say this about Tapion. He just does so much, and it's crazy. And I guess we kind of glossed over this Gohan a bit when I was talking about Tapion, but yeah, I have him a bit above Tapion here. I think this is the number 7 spot, if I'm not mistaken. Number 7th or 8th. I could be wrong here. I think it's actually 8th, yeah. So, yeah, like I said, Revival, having the Revival, he has some, I believe he has some support, right? If I'm not mistaken, does he have support, or am I just tripping? Okay, no. Okay, maybe I might be tripping. What does his main ability do? How did I kind of forget that? Okay, maybe not. I guess only the restoration of health to allies is the only support here, but that's also very good. He has, plus 20% to damage inflicted to powerful opponent. Being a powerful opponent counter is very good. And right now, I guess there isn't many yellow units other than Super Vegeta running around. And even then, people might be hesitant to bring any yellow units because of how many strong red units there are. So that sort of boosts his value because you're not going to be facing that many yellow units. So that's one thing to take out. But yeah, he just fits on the best teams, does good damage, high revival. It's a complete package there, right? So Revival Gohan is our number 8 spot here. Next, we move on to Shining Slash Trunks, or Super Saiyan Trunks, whatever you like to call it. Dude, this guy is deceptively good. I feel like a lot of people underrate this guy, and he's very, very good. Yo, I swear I have a lot of trouble facing this guy. He just does a lot, right? He gets 2 ultimates. The second unit, I believe, to get 2 ultimates. One on his green, one on his main ability. He goes neutral. He has blast armor. He does a lot. He does a lot of damage. It's just insane. I wasn't unfortunately lucky enough to pull this guy. I really wish I did, because I would love to use him. He seems like he honestly looks like one of the most fun units to use in this game right now. But similarly to the other units I mentioned and my honorables mentioned, his biggest issue is obviously his teams. Vegeta Clan Future. He's obviously the main green on Future, but it's just that the top teams are just way too good right now. I can honestly see this guy going up a lot more. Don't forget, we're gonna probably, most likely 9% sure, getting a Beast Gohan for Legends Festival. And when Beast Gohan comes out, who I presume is going to be probably red for hybrids, this guy is going to be your best friend. He and Beast Gohan are gonna just completely destroy everything in PvP. So his stocks, I feel like, are gonna go up a lot in the future, unless they're already high enough, right? I think he's underrated, but he's gonna go up a lot. in the foreseeable future. So that's going to be our number 7 spot. Then we are moving up to who's... Oh, yeah. This is where it kind of gets a bit, you know, I guess a bit biased here. You can have these units in a multitude of different orders, but personally, for me, this is the order that I'm going to go with. Next, we have Dragon Fist Goku. Now, I know a lot of people are looking at this and probably thinking, wait, Movie's just got a huge buff, so why is he this low? Honestly, I think that Dragon Fist Goku, he definitely pairs up very well with Final Form Cooler. I think they're a really good pairing. He covers his blue unit type disadvantage. But for me personally, the best Movies lineup would most likely be Cooler, Ultra Gogeta, and then Revival Gohan. You wouldn't necessarily have this guy on the core. You can obviously bring him. That doesn't mean he's bad or anything. But me personally, I would probably go with that lineup here. And you can definitely switch it up and bring Dragon Fist Goku. Movies is completely versatile, having top 10 units as their full color wheel. Ultra Gogeta, Final Form Cooler, Dragon Fist Goku, Revival Gohan, and Tapion. Like, easily, without a shred of doubt, they're the best team in the game right now. It's really not up for debate. Like, they just have so much options, so much versatility. Perfect matchup for any team. It's just insane how good Movies is right now. And it's even scarier to think that there's gonna only get better, because 100% gonna be getting a bunch of Movies buff during Legends Festival. Beast Gohan, Orange Piccolo, all that garbage. We're gonna be getting that for Legends Festival, and Movies is gonna be on another level. Now, like I said, you can obviously put this guy above a bit further. I have no problems with that, but just me personally, I would put them right behind here. There's a certain unit in my top 5 that a lot of people don't consider top 5 anymore, and I just feel like he's just no way out of the top 5. He has to have that spot in the top 5, and we're going to talk about him. But next up, as our number 5 option, we have Ultra Instinct Goku. Ultra Instinct Goku definitely still holds the title for most annoying unit to face. Having the unique gauge counter. Who likes to go up against it? No one does. He's by far the most annoying unit to face. But I do think he did take quite a bit of a hit due to the quick dash mechanic. Quick attack as well. Kind of hinders his passive playstyle. But don't let that distract you from the fact that an aggressive MUI player or UI player is still very, very scary. That is definitely the best way to play. His counter is still very annoying. He has, covered nullification for 30 counts on main ability, supreme damage. He has all that good stuff, right? Even against endurance of the last man. He's still very, very good. But I do think his best team, or I guess it used to be his best team, Red, Purple, God Key, I guess, with the droids, they're kind of lacking right now. I wouldn't say they're very that great anymore. They're still very, very good, supplying all the green cards, but I wouldn't say it's like the top team anymore. That definitely takes a hit. Universe Survival Saga is not even a team anymore. God Key always having the same issues there. So his teams are kind of taking the hit, but his best team obviously being like a Movies or Saiyan's mashup there. MUI, USV, Dragon Fist, or even MUI, Tapion, Dragon Fist. That kind of lineup right there. But it's very susceptible to being destroyed by Final Form Cooler. Obviously, if you're running Super Vegito there, he's going to get washed there. So I don't know. You can honestly argue, like I said, for Dragon Fist, you can honestly argue this guy a bit higher. I've seen this guy being rated a bit higher than what I have, which is completely fine. But me personally, I would put him here. Honestly, I might be saying this a lot, but I would even be open to putting this guy at the number 4 spot, because what we have at number 4 might be a bit shocking, but we have the androids at number 4, and you can honestly put UI Goku. Oh my god, I just closed the UI Goku tab. But you can honestly put UI Goku in the number 4 spot, and I'll be completely okay with that. Like, they're kind of interchangeable in my opinion. I feel like if I put the androids at number 5, it'd be kind of insane, right? I remember the days when people were talking about, if the androids were ever power corrupt, this is the end of time, the end of the world, and all this shit. But here we are, literally a couple months out later, and the androids are like not even number 1, not even top 3 in the game anymore. And it's crazy how far we've come. But yeah, you can go either way. Biggest issue with androids, obviously, they're out of the boost system, and they take quite a beating, right? But I remember I watched I forgot who said it. I think it was ZVG that said this. in one of his videos, where, you know, a lot of these units, you can kind of say that a lot of these units aren't able to take a hit properly because everyone is just hitting so goddamn hard. Like, when was the last time you actually faced a very tanky unit? You know, like, Ultra Super Vegito might be the tankiest unit in the game at this current moment. This Vegeta is also very tanky. It's just the units nowadays do so much damage that you can almost not really count it as a big negative in these units if they're taking too much damage. Obviously, there are some exceptions, like units like Dragon Fist Goku. I feel like get completely shredded. So there are obviously some exceptions, but you can't really take the fact that a unit gets destroyed, or I guess takes a lot of damage, as a very solid argument. There has to be more to it that you know, either brings a unit up or down. It can't only be based off of that. So that, but it is still a small factor, right? But the biggest factor, I think, in these androids and why they've dropped a bit is because obviously their teams, red, red, purple, obviously not being that you know, top tier anymore. Future still, you know, could use some more pieces, and I just personally think that the 3 units above this this unit are a bit better. So let's move on to number 3. This is the unit on everyone's mind here. This is the unit that, you know, has dropped out of the top 5 for everyone, like pretty much overnight. This is my favorite unit, Ultra Super Vegito. My boy Super Vegito, from number 1 in the game to, in many people's eyes, outside the top 5 unit, but me, I can't do it to him. You might say this is biased towards Super Vegito, but I truly believe that he deserves to be top 5. This guy's kit is still absolutely ridiculous. He still does stupid things, and I know Final Form Cooler just completely destroys him, because basically Final Form Cooler, what he does, you land 1 strike card, and just Vegito is pretty much dead, because he either goes for the ultimate, pops the main ability, do anything, and he's pretty much dead, which is unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but it's just the way they wanted to design Cooler. The ultimate counter to the Ultra Fusions. That's what they wanted to do, and they achieved it very, very well. But I do think still, you know, Vegito just has way too much in his kit for him to not be in the top 5. He's still on one of the best teams. Fusion is still one of the best teams, regardless of what anyone tells you. They're still cracked. Vegito is still cracked. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. He's still ridiculous. He can, like, don't get it wrong, he can still destroy Cooler, pop a green card, and it's over. It's not that hard, but it's just way easier for Cooler to destroy Vegito than it is the other way around. And it's just how it is. If obviously I would still want this guy to be the number 1 unit in the game, but it's just how it is. For those of you who are coping and saying he's still the best unit, he's not, man. He's just not. So stop your coping. He's not the best unit in the game. He might be maybe in the future, but for now, he's not the best unit. It's just like that, man. Ultra Gogeta was the best unit in the game, and then he took a small dip when, you know, Ultra Kaioken Goku dropped, and then we had, you know, green, yellow. You know, Ultra Gogeta was not considered the best unit in the game anymore, and then as time went on, his value slowly increased again. So it could possibly be the same for his Vegito. We'll just have to wait. He's still on the boost, by the way, so we still have to see how he performs after the boost, because that will be a true testament to how this guy's going to age. We still have to see that, but for now, I personally think he's still top 3. Now, the next 2 unit, you can argue that you can flip these 2 units. But for me personally, I think number 2 is Super Gogeta, and then number 1 is Final Form Cooler. Now, I know this might not come as a shock to you. I know everyone's been saying, you know, Final Form Cooler number 1, but I truly do believe Final Form Cooler is number 1. And then Super Gogeta is number 2. These 2, they just form a very, very good pair, almost as good as Super Vegito and Ultra Gogeta. I still do think the pairing between Ultra Super Vegito and Super Gogeta is like the best duo in the game. But Final Form Cooler and Gogeta is just insane. We already know what Gogeta does. He, you know, just basically spams blue cards, destroy all your cards. He locks in, he goes type neutral, he has 2 ultimates. He does everything, and he does it very well. But this Cooler has such ridiculous abilities, and pretty much his biggest assets, and the reason why this guy is just so stupid, is, well, first of all, let's just go through his stats. He's a Legends limited unit, not even a, are these stats wrong? 226 strike? No, these stats are definitely wrong. 5,040 strike. Okay, these are not right. His stats are reaching almost 270 strike attack. Not a Zenkai, not an Ultra. What kind of stats are those? That's insane. It's just insane. But the thing he has that just completely puts him over the edge above these units is this one. Nullifies own. Okay, so applies the following effects when this character enters the battlefield. All this stuff. Nullifies own unfavorable elements for 10 time recounts if there's attack Super Saiyan enemy battle member. Super Saiyans are running around everywhere. Ultra Super Vegito, Ultra Gogeta, Super Vegito, sorry, are two of the most common units you're going to be facing. Maybe not Super Vegito as much anymore, but Ultra Gogeta is still very, very common. So you're going to be getting this nullification of own element, unfavorable element, sorry, like in 80% of your matches. And there's no limit to this. This is every single time he comes into the battlefield, you're getting this nullification of element. It's not like, you know, activates twice, activates thrice, 3 times, or activates once. It's every single time. Unlimited element nullification. What the hell is that? That's insane. And then the biggest, the absolute biggest thing in this kit is right here. The following effects occur upon landing a strike card hit. To show on your enemy special card, which is the green card, reduce enemy key. Inflicts all enemies with 2 substitution counts, activates once. This guy has infinite locking. He has an infinite locking ability. Every time you switch in, you land a strike card, your opponent's locked in. What you can do there is, if you're versus Super Vegito, you pop a strike card, he's locked in, main ability, 99% gonna die from that ultimate. You pop the lock-in, then you rush. If you pop the main ability and rush, you could still nullify endurance because he gets 20 timer counts of endurance nullification on his main ability. So you don't need to pop the ultimate because he'll just nullify the endurance straight up. He can pretty much lock in, rush any unit in the game and kill them. And you can't really do anything about it. Obviously, other than revival. Imagine he had anti-revival. Unlimited locking, unlimited nullification of elements, and he's on the best team in the game, and he's paired up with Ultra Gogeta. It's a no-brainer. This guy, he's number 1. I want to say it's close, but honestly, doesn't seem that close to me. Okay, it's pretty close between Ultra Gogeta and him, but you're going to be running these two on the same team. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. So Final Form Cooler is the new king of Dragon Ball Legends, and I don't really think it's up for debate. I think he's really number 1, and I think most people would agree with me. I don't really think it's up for debate, to be honest. But that's going to be my top 10 list. Let me know in the comments what your top 10 list, or even just top 5, who do you think the best unit in the game, the top 5 units. I'm interested to see, and let me know what you guys thoughts on my list. Is there anything you would change? Blah blah blah, all that stuff. Drop a comment letting me know, because I would be interested to know what you guys have to say. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and don't forget to subscribe, because that's just so important. So don't forget. Other than that, have a great day. See ya.